Well, thanks for joining me once again, and welcome back to the third and final video clip from the 2019 Telford Classic Dirt Bike Show. Yes, in this third and final video clip we'll be making our way back to the Telford International Centre to have a look at yet even more of those superb classic and vintage dirt bike motorcycles. Okay, we're going to kick this part 3 video off with a look at this extremely rare machine. Now, this is an HIS 500. Now, this bike is the only example left that Norton Villiers Triumph prototyped in the early 1970s. Now, a total of only 5 frames were manufactured and only 2 bikes were ever fully assembled. The second of those bikes was returned to the Norton Villiers Triumph factory and was later destroyed at the plant. Now, some of the more unusual features on this bike are the isoelastic rubber engine mountings, which were not only used on this particular model but were also used on the Norton Commando road bike. Now, the legendary Vic Eastwood rode this bike at Caldwell Park in December 1972 and won both races on this machine. There was a certain John Banks who finished 5th behind Vic Eastwood, which when you think of it, it was not a bad baptism for the inaugural flight of this fantastic machine. Now, during the development of this machine, Norton Villiers Triumph had in the pipeline a water-cooled cylinder head and barrel for this feature bike, although none of these ideas were ever tried or tested. Now, this next featured machine was one of my favourite bikes at the show from the 2-day Telford event. But this lovely bike was built by the company, of course, Husqvarna, and this particular bike is one of their HVM Works bikes, which they affectionately call Big Red. Now, basically, it's their latest test machine. It's built in the best spirit of the 1980s twin-shock racing formula. It is a 570cc Husky motor in a 1984 125 LC frame. Now, rear suspension, of course, is supplied by these very high quality YSS piggyback adjustable shocks. Now the bike's exhaust system is a custom made Inconel alloy exhaust system. Now other enhancements on this Husqvarna testing platform include this new cylinder head with race springs and valves. Now of course Husqvarna man don't just supply complete bikes, they do supply Husqvarna parts for these bikes, and they're always a good source of supply if you're needing that special part for your Husky machine. Of course front and rear brakes are this twin shoe leading configuration. An absolutely stunning machine, and certainly looks the part from the rear with that lovely alloy airbox. Now also on the Husqvarna man stand was this lovely 1975 360 CR Heikki Mikkola replica. Now of course the CR Series started life as a 400cc bike, but was later downsized to a 360cc machine for 1975. Now of course these CR models have loads of history behind them because, as you know, in 1975 Heikki Mikkola, who was of course nicknamed the Flying Finn, won the 500cc World Championship Grand Prix on one of these lovely machines, and that was despite stiff competition brought on by the world renowned Roger De Costa. Now this bike was actually offered for sale by the Husqvarna man company, but by the time I got to the bike and took these pictures, the bike had already been sold to some very lucky person.
Yeah, no, we came in the other day with a sock and an elastic band on it.
Got there in the end.
Okay, moving right along, we're going to take a quick visit to the Wolfsport stand, Bill Brown's Myco Emporium. I've actually got to give Bill a mention due to his very generous sponsorship of my YouTube channel in 2019. Now this is a very nice original, looks like a 1981 Myco 490 GS Enduro bike. fully equipped, of course, with electrics, etc. Yet another superb classic from the Bill Brown bike collection. This, of course, is just one of the many fantastic Michael machines Bill has in his own private collection. Another one of these lovely 490 Michaels that Bill produces. These lovely alloy swing arms and the nice graphic slim tank. Absolutely beautiful bikes, and certainly one for the open class rider. Takes a very good rider to get the full potential from one of these very rapid German beasties. Now, this is a machine that had me totally bamboozled as to what it actually was. Now, it appears to be a Michael twin of some description, maybe a little 125 or 250 twin. Now, I tried to gain some more information about this bike from the Wolfsport boys, but they were far too busy dealing with customers. But it's certainly an interesting looking little tool. Now, this was another rare and unusual machine. Now, from what I could make out, it was a 1981 BSA Tracker 125. Now, the owner of the bike was not available at the time of taking this video, but I did gain some information from one of his friends who told me it was a BSA frame with almost everything else 125 Yamaha based machine. Now, these bikes are very rare, and there was only a few of these bikes actually made, and they were only made for sale solely in the UK and Australia. Now, at first glance of seeing this bike, I thought it was just one of these project machines that someone had concocted in their workshop. But it is basically, the bike is basically a 125 Yamaha with the BSA badge imprinted on it. Now, of course, naturally, I'd like to give you a bit more background on how BSA came to put their badge on this Japanese bike, but there you go. You now know as much as I do.
What we've got to see is, I'm plugging the kettle in now. Wait a minute, okay, we're plugging ours in now, and also.
Now, one of the other bikes I came across on the Sunday at Telford was this absolutely stunning Suzuki RM500. Now, I'm not sure who was actually selling the bike, but there was a price tag on the number plate, and if you had a spare £5,000 in your hip pocket, then you could take this lovely machine home to your workshop. Now, one of the other bikes that were advertised for sale on the Sunday at Telford was this very nice little CR 250 Honda Red Rocket. Now, the bike looked for all the world an original machine, and it was in superb condition, and the vendor told me it was ready to race. So if you're interested, just give Mark a call on this number. Okay, this is Terry Weedy's stand, who Terry is an absolute wizard with alloy. As you can see, Terry manufactures these bespoke, beautiful alloy fuel tanks for virtually any make or model of classic or a vintage dirt bike. And when you see the finish of the workmanship on these fuel tanks, you can see how Terry's work is always in high demand. Now, these are the guys at MXM Graphics who supply all these replacement graphics, stickers, and anything you need for your classic dirt bike, including these lovely vintage seat covers, which are of very high quality. So if you need anything with regards to seat covers or graphics, then just give MXM a call. Now, these are the Evo Plastic guys who will take your old faded plastic fuel tank and totally refurbish it to back as good as new. So if you would like your old fuel tank put back to as new condition, then just also contact MXM, and I'm sure they will help you out. Now, for me, one of the very nicest bikes at the show over the course of the 2 days was this absolutely superb 1980 JBR 500 Honda. Now, of course, this bike was situated on the National Twin Shock stand and was built by the now legendary Jem Parker. Now Jem builds these JBR Hondas and other types of twin shock racing machines for customers up and down the UK. Now this particular bike will be ridden in the National Twin Shock Championship by Barry Turnbull in 2019. So if you are attending any of the National Twin Shock Championship events during the year, then look out for this superb bike on the track. Well, it certainly gets my vote as best bike and show at Telford. That's Jem Parker's JBR 500 Honda. It's a shame to get it dirty, actually. Okay, next up we're going to take a quick visit to the Cumbria Classic Moulding stand. Now these guys will supply anything you need for your classic CCM with regards to bodywork, side panels, mudguards, airboxes, etc. These guys have it all. These are all original replicas of the parts that you would put on your CCM from back in the day. Now, if these guys can't supply you with the things you need for your CCM, then I think no one will be able to supply. So if you need parts with regards airboxes, mudguards or number plates for your classic CCM, then why not give these guys a quick call. Okay, our final bike of the classic Telford weekend is this 1972 CZ250 that was offered for sale. Now the owner tells me it's ready to ride, so if you would like more information on this bike, then just give Steve a call on this number. Well, that just about wraps things up for the Telford Classic Dirt Bike Show in 2019. I hope you've enjoyed the 3 videos I have posted from this fantastic event. Now, if you'd like to see more of these classic and vintage dirt bikes, then just keep tuning to my YouTube channel. This video was brought to you in association with Love Sport, Motocross Race and Leisure Wear, and also in association with VMX Magazine, the world's undisputed #1 publication for all your vintage and classic dirt bike motorcycles.